I was reading through the Reggie Memorandum of Understanding this weekend, and correct me if I'm wrong, but within that it requires a commitment from states to allocate at least 25% of their allowances for consumer benefit for strategic energy purposes, which includes, quote, mitigation of electric ratepayer impacts. Is that accurate? My interpretation of that was accurate,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we know, one, that there will be an impact to ratepayers moving forward. Now, here's the issue that comes up with where the money goes. Governor Wolf, if I'm not mistaken, has indicated that the administration will be constrained to spending proceeds in accordance with our state's Air Pollution Control Act, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So basically how we're going to implement it is none of those dollars can go to help offset the increased cost to ratepayers, correct?
In a direct way, that is correct. There's an indirect way that is not true that I'm more than willing to explain.
Okay. If we had time, I would go there.
Okay.
Move on. 2, fines that your department levies. Are they treated as augmentations to the program, your GGO? What is the disposition of fines?
Fines go directly into the special fund or restricted account they're associated with.
Okay. So if it's fined under air pollution control, it just goes back into that.
It goes into the Clean Air Fund. If it's a clean water violation, it'll go into the Clean Water Fund.
Does that go to pay for, does that go to programmatic pay or per se to the employees to pay for employee complement?
It goes into the fund, so it's all of the things within the fund. It's not specifically line itemed for any particular thing. We try to be pretty conservative in our assumptions about what those fines and penalty dollars are going to be because it's not, frankly, something we want any of our funds living off of.
Correct. It's one-time funds, so paying recurring funds with
Correct.
one-time revenue creates
Yeah.
gaps long-term.
And I don't know this is the case today. I know back when I was admin deputy a few years ago now, it seemed like every year when we would go through the special fund review, there would be, it was always a different program that had some major violation. So one year it might be air, one year it might be waste or water.
Okay.
So it's definitely not reliable funding.
Okay. There's one theme that keeps popping up for the past week, including today, is it seems like we have these new shiny projects that we spend a lot of time talking about. So today we spent a lot of time talking about Reggie. We talked about, different new proposals, right? And it seems like the base job of agencies are kind of getting pushed to the wayside and creating problems within them. I was very happy to hear you're a fan of the lean process.
Absolutely.
To do it better, more efficient, moving forward. So within that thought process, Legislative Budget Finance came out with their audit. I'm sure you're aware of that. The was it Chapter 102 and Chapter 105 permitting programs. They had conclusions. DEP does not systematically collect, compile, analyze, and report data to measure the performance of the CCDs or DEP regional offices for all Chapter 102 and Chapter 5 permitting programs. To me, if I would see that in a report, I would utilize my lean tool and start doing data measures on that. Has that happened?
So that's, yes, it's one of the things that goes into that backlog management piece, as well as the move to electronic permitting. So, and in particular for 102, which I think is a clear example, whereas we just had the discussion, the conservation districts have a piece of that. As we move that into electronic permitting, things that are going on out in those counties are things we'll have more visibility into in terms of permit timeframes, permit process, et cetera. So it's definitely a piece of this that we're looking at, and my staff knows, yes, Reggie and other things are absolutely important, but so is the base things that we need to do as an agency. We're moving all in on visual management. We're moving all in on dashboards and other things to support our employees and our managers in getting the job done.
Good. Because, other things we heard about hazardous sites cleanup fund. We also have issues, obviously, with the recycling fund. It was approved 1988. There's still issues going on with that. So, as a government agency that has been around for quite a while, It's been in existence before your arrival. It'll be in existence without. We need to make sure the agencies themselves are running as efficient as they possibly can at the lowest cost to bring the best benefit to taxpayers and obviously for cleaning up and protecting the environment. I just think, through what I've heard from agency heads throughout the past week, the focus is on new shiny things rather than that base, and would really appreciate the administration focusing on that moving forward. Thank you.
So the one thing I would in particular say on that is we're, again, very focused on lean and other things within the agency. And some of what gets lost in that is as we proceed down paths where we're simplifying permit processes around stream restoration, around smaller projects, that's an efficiency within that frees up more time for us to make sure we're able to focus on those more complicated projects too. So all of it ends up fitting together. It's not, I always say it's not one thing, it's 100 things that we're doing at any given moment to deal with any of these issues. So exactly the conversation we should be having. I appreciate it.